Mabuhay world, and welcome to Trunkie and Branchie's YouTube channel, the channel where we share our life lessons, where you can look into our life and hopefully see something that you can siphon off of it and enrich your own life. We are based here in Sweden right now, and I'm Trunkie and I'm a Swedish national, and I'm married to Branchie, a Filipino national. It's a lovely mix, I must say. I really enjoy it very, very much. And we at the moment are living in Sweden, and here in Sweden we on a volunteer basis assist other Filipino nationals with the transition to Sweden, in particular when it comes to matter of the relationship between employee and employer. There are a lot of things in Sweden that are not intuitive and need some guidance when you get here to Sweden. So we're going to start this YouTube series, and we're going to try to break it down to around 10 to 5 minute videos where I talk way too fast, so please use that stop button and rewind whenever my very poor English makes you confused. If you like, I can change my dialect, but the options are very, very limited on what dialects I can do. So hopefully this is the best one. Anyway, today's episode we're going to talk about generally what to expect when to get to Sweden. And in this particular thing we're going to talk about private economy, and this is entitled, in my papers, it's entitled Taxed and Comfort. And one of the things that we notice a lot in Filipino nationals that come to Sweden here is that they expect that they're going to make a lot of money. And that is true on paper. Their salaries in comparison to the Filipino salaries are huge. They are really, really huge. However, there is a slight problem with the math there, and that is that they're often excluding two particular issues, and one issue is taxation and the other ones are living costs. And those two can be quite punishing. Take for example, in my own case, my brother-in-law, who works as a IT technician in the Philippines as a Filipino national himself, he actually gets more savings per month than I do here in Sweden, even though on paper my salary is way more than his is. So that is something you need to take in consideration. And we're going to talk about taxes this first episode, and then we're going to go into planning your private economy here in Sweden and what you need to think of and so on and so forth. So we'll see where we end up. So anyway, with taxes, Sweden is a very good country. It is very beautiful country during summertime, and some parts of the winter I really enjoy when it's really white with snow everywhere. That's lovely. And then in the summer with the green forest, and you have 5 kilometers to your neighbors, and you can just walk by yourself outside in the middle of nowhere. That is lovely. Then we come to taxes. The taxes here in Sweden are huge. My income tax, for example, is 37%. That's just the income tax. On top of the income tax, we have a value-added tax, VAT, which in Swedish is called moms, of 25% of non-food items and 12% for food items. Tell me if I speak too fast, or rather, don't tell me, just rewind and listen again. Sorry. Hey, this is a channel about life. I speak fast, you hang on, and hopefully my English is understandable. Sobra mahirap sa English. Anyway, but the good thing about taxes in Sweden is that you actually get something for it. I mean, I lived and worked in countries where you pay a lot of taxes, not comparatively as much as in Sweden, but you pay a lot of taxes and you see nothing. It just poof, gone. It's like, we bought a hammer. Yeah, but what about the other millions we put into you? But in Sweden, you actually get something for you and for your taxes. And examples of this are that we have a lovely infrastructure. We have good infrastructure. We have transportation. We have good institutions. Our schooling system, in particular up to grade 7, is really good. Then you should take a break with your children and put them in another country until university, and then they come back. Because if you're a Swedish citizen, university at the moment of this video making is free for Swedish citizens, and you don't have to pay tuition or anything like that. So that is really good. Also, the schooling system, they are very problem based. They like to present problems to the children that the children has to solve on their own. We're not very much on memorizing stuff. Good or bad. We are, however, in our school system very lax, and you do get medals for participation and not necessarily for achieving anything. And in my personal opinion, this is not good for character growth. So I personally, if we're blessed with children, I would definitely take the children out of the Swedish school system around year 7 to expose them to the real world, where you don't get anything for free, but you have to work hard for it. We also have good social services. If you lose your job, we have insurances, we have support from the government. You will not have a comfortable life, you will not have a very good life, but you will live, you will not die. So that is very good. We have some of the best children benefits in the world, with also absences, what do you call it? Not material, you call it maternity leave and paternal leave. Very generous. We're also very generous on sick leave. You get 80% of your salary when you're sick. Not the first day, then it's 0%, but after the karensdag, which we call it, you get 80% of your salary. So on those areas we're really good. We're also having a very nice healthcare system. My wife, who is a health professional and a specialist trauma nurse, she is not very impressed with the healthcare system here in Sweden, actually, and that is due to the fact that the Swedish healthcare system is really built around taxes, and that means that when you get to a hospital, you're not paying that much. You're not paying much at all. And that makes it that you are not the customer when you're sick and go to a hospital. The customer is the government, because the government is paying for your treatment through taxes. And that means that you're not a customer when you step through the door. You are a product. And therefore you should expect that when you go to a hospital in Sweden, you will be treated as such. You'll be treated as a product. And that means that in my wife's opinion, she probably make a video on this her own, but generally speaking, she feels that they do not do the follow-up as they should do, or as they do in other countries. And in my own opinion, I would like to say that the Filipino healthcare system is much more inquisitive. They don't like to take as broad guesses as we like to do here in Sweden. But anyway, we actually get something for the taxes. So that is something good. So let's try to go over to my little Excel arc. Hopefully you get something up on the screen right now. I love Excels, my wife really don't, but I like seeing 50 years in the future. Not that actually my Excels has ever worked out. I mean, I make the forecast, but after 2 months they're outdated, so why do it anyway? But it's fun. Come on, it's fun. I'm sure that some of you like this. So let's look at the Excel today. We'll only go around the what do you call it? Column, Lima, and Mike here. Yeah, I know my NATO phonetics is not that good. Anyway, never mind. So let's start. Income tax, if you earn below 20,000 Swedish kronor per year, is 0%. If you earn 20,000 kronor per year in Sweden, my condolences, you're dead. That's too little. You won't even eat on that amount. If you are actually trying to live in Sweden, you are going to pay around 32%. In my case, where I live, I pay 37%, so somewhere along that range, that is your income tax. We also have a rich tax, which means that if you earn more than a certain amount, which is 500,000 Swedish kronor, you actually add your taxes with 25%, which can be very, 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 very not nice. Okay, so this is Swedish kroner. What does that mean for the world? Let's do something that you never should do on YouTube, doing something while you are thinking. So let's do this. We are gonna click 20,000. Oh, where are you? See, already a mistake. You never do something while recording on YouTube. That's lesson number 1. But if I didn't do it, it wouldn't be a fun video channel. So let's carry on. 20,000. That's 25,000. Never mind that. 20,000 times Swedish kroner to Filipino pesos. There we go. So if you earn below 106,000 pesos per year, you're not alive. Nowhere near alive. And if we do it like this, let's take half that amount. Let's take a normal annual salary. A normal annual salary is around 285,000 times the pesos exchange rate. There we go. That is many numbers. 1.5 million pesos per year. That is a normal rate. And then above the, let's calculate that as well. Maybe if we have that, so it starts feeling the formula times the pesos. And if you go above 2.7 million pesos per year, then you'll get the additional tax, which is an additional 25%, bringing it up to, in my case, to 60%, 62%. per year. That's a lot. But we're not finished. That's your income tax. And on top of income tax, we have something called moms. And moms is value added tax. And value added tax is at 25% on all purchases except food. Thank God that food is included for that. So that's, let's see, 25% on 62. The mass should be up at 87% taxes. If you're near the roof. That hurts. That really hurts. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. You just see. Sooner or later I'll be there. Food items, 12%. Food items also include restaurants. So that's what you know. All these numbers, it will not be accurate by the time you finish watching this video. So you have to go to the Swedish Tax Authority and actually check what the numbers are now. Or you'll be in a world of hurt. Anyway, and then just to conclude this initial video before we go into the other parts, we're gonna go with just rough salaries so you have an idea about salaries. If you're an operational non-specialist, I mean you're working on the floor, you start around 19,000 Swedish kroner, which is, we don't have a minimum salary in Sweden, but this is as close as you get to a minimum salary. So 19,000 per month. That's 100,000 pesos per month is the minimum salary in Sweden. If you're a specialist, 25,000. If you are a specialist that is take for example a heavy duty mechanic, one who works on trains, one who works on airplanes, one who works on buses, any heavy mechanic. We don't educate many of those here in Sweden, so they are rare and they get very well paid. They actually earn more than the managers, especially if they work night. If they work night, you can add another 15% to their salary, at least. So a rare specialist, if you can put it that way. Sorry, I don't have a proper English word for it. 265,000 pesos per month. Supervisor, 160,000 pesos. A manager is 238,000 pesos. We're talking huge amounts if we are in pesos, if we're thinking the Philippines. The problem is this is not the Philippines. If you I'm skipping to the next video already, but if you look down here at Bravo 38, you will see an example that will go into detail in video number 2. You will see that the total sum of the monthly expenditures for 2 persons in Sweden is around 29,000 Swedish kroner. That is 154,000 pesos per month in living expenses. If you then have a salary of 132,000 pesos, you're running back 20,000 pesos per month. Not good at all. Not good at all. So let's skip that part. So you see, moving to Sweden, it can be a very good choice for you, you and your spouse, or you on your own for that matter. And it can be good for your family to get the Swedish money back to the Philippines. But you need to know that the Swedish society is not geared to have any wealth accumulation. The Swedish society is geared to work as a buffer against life. It is to lower the heights and push up the lows. So life in Sweden is very, very comfortable. It is comfortable. You will have vacation once a year. You will not have any big wants. You will have food. You will have an apartment. You will even have a car. But beyond that, no. Not unless you are in a very, very energetic, very, very driven entrepreneur spirit, and you somehow manage to find a winning market here in Sweden. There are very few people that will actually earn a lot of money in Sweden. So right off the bat, when you're thinking about Sweden, lower your, what do you call it in English? Lower your dreams before you get here, and think about what you want. If you want a comfortable life for you, your children, this is a good place to be. If you want to be rich, this is not a good place to be. That being said, you can become rich, but that's for few people. Few people will be rich here. So anyway, that's the conclusion of the first video on this topic. The next topic will actually, we're gonna break down the expenditures, and then we're gonna go through the graphs that you see down below in our little Excel sheet here. And I really hope that this first video was somewhat interesting, and I do hope that you'll be able to use this to grow your life. Now, make sure that you don't stop here, because this was a very negative video. It's not all negative, and I will show you why. Inget!